Okay, so hi everyone. Hi everyone. So let's start our discussion. So for today's work, we are going to do a training work before we start our discussion. Before our start our project A, and before we start our demo about this training work, I want everyone to know that we post a Unit 5 reflection on the Piazza. So most students use different accounts in Piazza, and this new account haven't been added into the group I535 online group. So this student cannot access this Unit 5 reflection on Piazza. So please, if you cannot access this link on Piazza, let us know. We will add you Piazza email account into this group, into I535 online group, and you can access it and share your ideas, share your discussion on it. So that's the first thing I want to say in this discussion. So I already posted all these discussion materials on the cameras files, week 6. You can go there and download it. So this package, this sample project package will be used for this training work. And the sample project training PDF file is the slides for today, and the user the 3000 dataset file is our training sample data. So let's go to our slides. So I think Professor Plale will join our discussion, and when I finish this demo, we will start our discussion about this reflection, Unit 5 reflection. So first, let me finish this training work. So I hope if you want to follow my slide, you can you can run your project image and try to do it step by step. So first, let's check our 3000 profile data. So in the file, I think in the list user 3000 file, we have 30,000 user profiles in it. So in each line, it represents a user profile. So the format is as follows. So each line you can see there's a user information there. So one line can show many information for us. So it includes the user ID, username, friend count, follow count, status count, favorite count, account age, and the user location. So each field are split by the tab. So this is sample. You can see sample format. You can see there are 8 fields there, and each fields are split by the tab. So if you go to the sample data, you will find this is a screenshot of sample data. You will find that there are 3,000 profiles there, and each line shows the information like this is user ID. First field is user ID. The second field is username, and the other information are there. So you can go to the user 3,000 txt file and you can view it. So you should know this 3,000 profile is part of our project A dataset. So I think this training work can help you to do the preparation for the project A. So let's go to the next step. So before you can process this dataset, you have to transfer package. You have to transfer this sample project package into the instance. So for the Mac system, you can use SCP. You can type SCP this line. You can type this line in your terminal and transfer this file into your image. Or if you use a Windows system, you can use WinSCP to transfer package into instance directory. If you have any questions about how to transfer files, how to connect to the image remotely, you can view the tutorials on the cameras. So I think I post all tutorials about how to access the gesturing, how to transfer files, how to generate the SSH key for the image. So you can, if you have any questions about how to do that, you can go to the cameras, go to the project materials. You can find a lot of information there. Just check the tutorials there. If you still have a question about these tutorials, I think most of the students pose some good questions on the Piazza, and we give a very clear idea how to solve these issues. You can go there and find some helps there. So let's go back to our slides. So here, when you successfully transfer package into your instance, so here I already run a instance there. So please make sure you use the project A image, because in the project A image, we already installed the MongoDB in it. The only thing you have to do is modify the MongoDB configuration file to disable the raw access control. So if you still have questions about that, you can review our last discussion session videos or materials. I give a very clear introduction how to disable this raw control access. So let's go to our web terminal, because that's a good way to access it. So we use any tool to transfer this sample project package into our instance. So the package should be here. So you can see there's a sample project package there. So here, when you got that, so you have to extract documents from the zipped package at the sample project directory. So just follow these command lines. So make sure there's an empty space between these three parameters. So don't miss this empty space. If you miss this empty space, the command line cannot recognize this command line. So let's go to our terminal. So we want to extract the document from the sample project package. So type this here, the space type, space, and dash ZXF, then space, then the sample project name. When you're done, you can check the list. You can find the sample project folder is created and go to this sample project. So you will see there are 3 documents there. So for these 3 documents, two of them are stripped. So for this script, you can reformat. For the reformat script, you can reformat the user profile data from the ISO 8859-1 to UTF format. And for the import MongoDB script, so it can help you to insert the file into MongoDB. And the user's 3000 TXT file is the sample dataset for us. So before we modify the sample dataset and insert it, so we have to create the database and collection to save this sample dataset. So let's go to our MongoDB. So I already created the database and the collection for this sample chaining work. So let's show let's show the database there. So here we can see we have the sample project database there. And if we go to the sample project database, show the collection, we will see we already have the sample collection there. So let me check how many data we have how many documents we have in this sample collection there. So it's empty. It means there's no data in this sample collection. So if you don't know how to create this sample project database and how to create this collection, you can follow these 2 command lines. It can help you to create the sample project database and create the collection, the sample collection. So when you've done this part, if you finish creating the sample project database, the sample collection, it means you are ready to to do the next step. So first, you should know, we give you this raw data, 3000 user profiles raw data, is encoded in ISO 8859-1 format. So MongoDB NoSQL store cannot accept this format. So you have to convert the text file into the UTF-8 format so that MongoDB can accept it. So this is the same question for our project A. We will give you 10,000 tweet data, and this tweet data is encoded in ISO 8859-1 format. You have to use the reformat script to transfer that format to the ITF-8. So we can run this reformat script to do that, to help us to convert to the ITF-8 format. So go to our terminal. First, you have to exit the MongoDB, and you there go to the sample project directory and follow the command lines there. So first, you have to reformat the data, and you have to create a TSV file to save the new data. So go to our slide. You will see this sample code there. We will convert the user 3000 TXT file, the data we have to convert the 3000 user profiles in user 3000 TXT file and save this new reformat data into the user's 3000 TSV file. So go to our terminal, we can do that. So follow this command line. So we are going to create a TSV file, and we save the new reformatted data into the TSV file. So when you've done that, you have to do additional work for that. So you have to add a headline for the user profile. For our MongoDB, there's a key value pairs. So let me check. So we already know there are only data there. There's no key values, key fields there, even though we know each column show one field, but there's no information about the key value, about the field on the raw data. So we have to add this to specify these key fields for the MongoDB. So let MongoDB know we have to insert the key value pairs into the dataset. So we have to add at least 8 fields into the first line and split them by using the tab there. So here, let's go to our. So first let us see the TSV file to check how many data, what kind of data we have. TSV. So here you can see we have 8 columns there. So each column show one information. So first column show the user ID and second column show the username. So we have to add a headline there. So we can use VI editor to open the file you create. We can use the V editor to open the TSV file and add the following line as the first line to the newly reformatted twist data file. Still, you can use Nano to edit the file. It's up to your choice. So I will show you how to use the V editor to do that. So go to our sample project directory, type VI and space and the user TSV file. So then you press I in your keyboard to enter the insert mode. You can see when you press I, you will see the insert symbol there. So it means you are already in the insert mode. Then go to the first line and type in the 3 fields in this first line and split them by using tab. So first line, the user ID. Then you tap this tab. And then press the tab, then insert the user's name, use tab, split it, and then there are the 6 fields, friend count, follow count. So the friend count, follow count, and the rest of the status count, US count, and value. Okay, count. Don't make any typo there, because when you try to do query work, you have to get the exact field name there. So what we have for, okay, the account age and the user location. So let's go to the account age and the user location. When you've done that, when you insert these 8 field headline into the TSV file, you can press the ESC to quit the insert mode and type the column WQW to write and quit the VI editor. So when you've done that, let us check the TSV file. So when done that, you can see we already insert this headline into our document, into our TSV document. So press Q to quit this less work. So when we insert our headline into the TSV file, we have to insert this tab separated values and TSV files into the MongoDB. So here, so import MongoDB script can help you to insert this, insert it into the sample project database and insert it into the sample collection. So someone has a question about this step. So let's go there. Okay.
Nope, sorry, it's just me creating background noise.
Okay.
I'm trying to figure out the author of this thing.
Okay.
What's about it? All right.
So here, so some students will ask what tool can help you to insert this data into MongoDB, so we can review the import MongoDB script, so we can see what command help us to, what tool help us to insert the MongoDB. So here you can see this command line, Mongo import. This to help us to insert our data into MongoDB, insert to this database, insert to this collection, and type headline there. So don't worry about this command line. So you just need to run this import MongoDB script to insert its data. So here, as we know, we have the sample project database, and we have sample collection, and we use TSV file type, and we want to insert user TSV file, user 3000 TSV file. Then we press the enter button. So this command line shows us that the MongoDB accepts 3000 documents and insert them into the database. So let's go to our MongoDB. So let's see. Okay. So here we go to our MongoDB and we go to the sample project, and we find how many documents in our collection. So see, I run this command how to count how many documents in the sample collection. The command line the MongoDB shows there are 3000 documents in it. So in the slides, I write some sample query for you. So you can follow this command line, follow these queries to get some results, like how you can query how many users have less than 100 friends. So just copy paste this command line into the terminal and press enter button. So you can see there are 365 users had less than 100 friends in his profile. So yeah, I think that's we give you this sample data. You can learn how to reformat the data and how to insert this data into MongoDB, and you can build your query method to do some research about it. So also you can see for the last query method, I use and condition to query some information. So I think that's a good chance for you to build your own query method and to do some research on it. And I think that's a good start for you to learn how to use MongoDB and how to do some preparation for the project A. So I think someone has a questions about this work. So okay.
So let me just, if I may, interject here. The project that utilizes MongoDB utilizes your VM. It utilizes the Twitter data. It has you doing some cleaning of that data, dropping it in MongoDB, a little bit of analysis, really simple analysis on it, and then some plotting of tweets within a certain region. This project will be released Thursday or Friday of this week. You will have a little over 2 weeks to work on that project, about 2.5 weeks to work on that project. The expectation with the tutorials that you has been giving over the last month or so is that at this point you should have your Jetstream image up and going. You should be able to get into MongoDB and poke around a little bit. You should be able to download this data set and get it into MongoDB. So that's our sense of where you are at. So if you're not there, now is a good time to be talking about that. But let me just ask a question just to get a conversation going. So how do you get the data set? How do you get the data set? How do you get it? And then how do you get it into MongoDB? This is the small data set that you was just talking about. So please chat, or if you want to pop on video and talk to us, that's fine too. Either way, whatever works.
Hi, this is Ramji here.
Hello, Ramjit.
Hi, Professor Plale.
Hey.
Yeah, so you has uploaded the data in Box, and you can download it from there and then ACP it to the Jetstream VM.
Perfect. Okay. What kind of machine are you all using to do that?
I have a Ubuntu.
Okay. All right. Okay. Okay. So you're gonna FTP. Can you FTP it to Jetstream?
I generally do it with
Oh.
FileZilla. If that doesn't work, I generally do it from the command line with ACP.
Okay. So WinSCP, Ashok. Yeah, that works.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, which is different than FTP, but okay.
Yeah.
Other people that's anybody got any confusion on how you do that? You had said that there's a copy of that data set both in Box, and you said it was on Canvas also?
Yeah.
Yeah. So the reason for that is, I mentioned this last week, but we're trying to phase out our dependency on Box because we have too many platforms already, and Box introduces yet another one. So you did put that on Canvas because edX is not a good platform for storing larger data sets. So it is, you can see on the shared screen, he's got it there. So you would download that users_3000 from Canvas and then use an SCP type of tool to copy it into your VM. And then once you get it in your VM, then how do you get into MongoDB? Somebody new I need to hear from. Who hasn't chatted already? Come on, we got other people. Christina, Leonard, Jeff, Wei Han, Chi, Yi. We got a bunch of you in there. Let's hear from you. Christina doesn't know. Thank you. Okay. Okay, so Leonard, upload and untar the file. Well, it's a text file. So my guess is it's probably not going to be tarred as a function of the copy. It's probably just going to go over as a text file. So yeah, so you'll copy it to your VM, and then how do you get it into your MongoDB? Christina will get you the answer here in a minute, as soon as somebody says it. Come on, how do you get it into MongoDB? Okay, and what was that import function that you was explaining? Anybody know the name of it? No, you want to tell us?
Yeah, so let's go to our terminal. So get out of this MongoDB. So in this package, we have two scripts. So the import MongoDB script can help you to insert it. Then we go to this, we can check.
Hold on, whoa. You got to back up a little bit. So what you were showing us in Canvas must have been then a tarball and not an individual text file.
Mm-hmm.
Can you go back to Canvas?
Yeah.
Oh, so now instead of people downloading users_3000.txt, they download sampleproject.tar.gz. There you go. So Leonard, that is where your untar comes from. Good. I was not sure where you got that from, but now this would make sense. So you download sampleproject.tar.gz, and then okay, now you can go back into your command line.
Okay. So here we can check what tool help us to insert this data. So let's go to this. Check the content of this import MongoDB script. So here you can see the last line, Mongo import. This is the command line tool to help us to insert the data into the MongoDB. So if you don't want to use this script, so you can just Mongo. Oh, let us check the.
That's okay. No, we don't need to see other options. It just confuses things. We're just trying to get the simple stuff down pat, and that's all. Okay. So now what we know. So everybody should be able to do that. Everybody should be able to download that tarball, unzip it, and how do you unzip it at the command line?
Yes, I show. Let's go back to our slides. Yeah, use this command line to unzip it.
Great. Okay, so that we do an SCP, go tar-zxf. Okay, good. And then we run that import mongodb.sh script, and that should drop it in your database. Okay. How many of you are at the point where running this import mongodb.sh is something you could do in the next 30 minutes after getting off this call? So give me a plus or a minus or eh. Okay, Angelica, yay, good. Okay, Ramji, good, yes. Wayhan, good. Aisha, good, good. Good. No, but we'll get there. Christina, okay, good. Leonard, Jetstream yet? No Jetstream yet. Okay. You got Leonard, you have you're just waiting on your allocation? Okay. So do we still have outstanding allocations? Do you know how far we're at?
Okay. So I
Okay,
got email
Christina.
from the learner. So because we already add your Exceed account into the allocation, but just inside have to take time to process the allocation. So it will take several days to finish updating the information on the system. So you have to be patient and wait for this work done.
Okay, but I guess as long as your application is in, you should be okay by Thursday or Friday when the project goes out. So everybody should be okay. Okay. So let me just make a couple points here. If we could go to that cluster, the distributed cluster. Do you have the distributed cluster diagram?
Distributed cluster?
Yep.
Okay.
That one right there.
What do you mean the distributed cluster?
There we go. Thank you very much. Okay.
Okay.
All right. So the reflection for this week, and this is Unit 5 reflection, was talking about it's an intro to NoSQL stores. Martin Fowler had I thought a really nice video on kind of introductory concepts to NoSQL stores. So I put this example out and I said, now suppose you've got a single NoSQL store. It's distributed across 2 locations. You've got 6 nodes in London and 6 nodes in Singapore. There's a single network connection between the 2. And suppose you've got a data set. Oh, it's a 2 petabyte data set. And it is made up of hotel rooms in East Asia and in Europe. Your job is to partition that 2 petabyte data set across this cluster, this distributed cluster, while respecting the rule that there be, as you can see in the bottom of this slide on the shared screen, that there's 20% overlap so that each cluster holds 20% of the data held by the other cluster. And to further complicate your thinking here, when Fowler spoke, he talked about the hotel, booking the hotel room example, and he was talking about consistency versus availability versus partitioning, and he said, network partitioning is always going to happen, so you're really working a trade-off between consistency and availability. And he said when you're preferencing consistency, in the hotel case, the hotel room case, what that means is under the case of consistency, when the network breaks, the network between the 2, in other words, that big blue arrow breaks, the whole cluster goes down. And when you're preferencing availability, what it means is Fowler and his colleague end up with a room that's double booked between the 2 of them. So that's the trade-off. So with that thinking in mind, what would be your solution for data sharding and data replication? Let me give you a few minutes to think about that. And when you do have an answer, just pop yourself up on video and talk to us as opposed to trying to chat session this whole thing out. Anybody got any thoughts on this? Anybody brave enough to jump in and talk this thing through?
I guess I can go first.
Okay.
Okay. Before I begin to answer, I must say that I'm still quite not clear with the idea of data sharding and data replication being done at the same time. But with that out of the way, I would say that in this scenario, it would make sense to split the data in such a way that, let's say, the hotel rooms that are available in East Asia, that data would predominantly be stored in the Singapore cluster, and then the hotel data pertaining to Europe would be stored in the London cluster, and the area of overlap, the 20% overlap, that would contain those hotels that are predominantly in, let's say, tourist cities, let's say Paris or cities of that sort, which tend to be booked from across geographies. So that would be my strategy to split the data.
Good. That's a good strategy. So basically, you're picking it on popularity for the other location, which I think is a really good strategy for that 20%. Good, thank you. So can somebody respond to the data sharding and replication, and the two of those? And Ramji, you raised a good question there. So can somebody pop in and respond to that?
Hi, Ashok here.
Hello, Ashok.
Yeah, I think from my understanding, it is possible to have data sharding as well as replication at the same time. Because the way I understand from the video, sharding aims at the better availability. Sharding aims at the better efficiency, whereas replication aims at the better availability. So as he points out, a particular operation in the whole business, some of the operations might be requiring very much availability, whereas some of them require very much efficiency. So I think it is possible to implement both of them at the same time.
Good. Yeah, and thank you. Yeah, and you bring something to mind, Ramji, that I think is worth pointing out that isn't implicit in this example. This example is a NoSQL organization where there's a peering relationship between each of those nodes. So unlike a relational database where you come in with a head node and then you've got slave nodes, in this node, you're addressing. So if you take the cluster in Singapore 1 through 6, you can come in when you can address any of those 6 nodes. So that is where the sharding strategy is because now you have 6 nodes that can all answer instead of just having one. So that's the sharding strategy. And then within that, you need replication because if node 6 goes down, its data needs to be somewhere else because somebody else needs to take care of it and pick back up.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense in a general way, but the point where I have difficulty in understanding is that sharding is basically you split the data or you distribute the data among your nodes in the cluster, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say I have split the data amongst the 6 nodes in the cluster, and when I replicate, it basically means that each node in the cluster has the exact same data.
Well, it depends. If you replicate across, if you replicate across, I think somebody just jumped in, but let me just finish. If you replicate 6 times, then yes, but you probably don't need to do that.
Okay. Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah. That
Yeah.
makes sense. Thank you.
Okay. Somebody else wanted to jump in?
Ashok here. I mean, I was just trying to say that replication, in my understanding, is basically duplicating, so that if the particular node goes down, you always have data another node.
Right. Very good. Okay. Anybody have a different strategy for utilizing that 20%? Rimji said he'd use it for popular cities, the cities that are popular destinations for tourists from other continents. Any other strategies? From somebody that we haven't heard from yet? So Ashok, that puts you and Rimji out. But opens it up to everybody else.
Okay, then I'll keep quiet.
Okay, thank you. All right, do not have a very chatty group tonight. Come on, somebody else talk. What about a different strategy for utilizing that 20%? Why don't you put the diagram back up on the top? Just pop it back up there. There we go. So expect that there will be 20% overlap so that each cluster holds 20% of the data held by the other cluster. Okay, there we go, Angelica. Thank you. So it can be used for load balancing between the clusters. It could be that. Yep. And then the final, and I'll answer for the third option that I had heard is you can use it as a replication source, which is, you know, almost like a dark store or something like that. And I think that's reasonable. Mm-hmm. So let me, I think we're probably getting close to our end here. Let me just also point out Piazza and how we're handling Piazza in discussions. So, you know, we set up a single thread for this particular section because you're our only section that's completely online. In doing that, I thought people did a good job weighing in. I would ask that you weigh in on somebody else's comment. So what we got a little bit of people commenting and talking to each other, but we got more people just posting. You know, so I encourage you to read what the thread is doing and weigh in on one of the conversations instead of just posting. In that way, it becomes a source for people to learn about what other people are doing. And in general, it's more interesting a thread than it is if everybody just posts whatever they're thinking. It becomes more of a conversation. So I encourage you to, and this is the thread right here, I encourage you to weigh in on an existing conversation. If you think there's something that hasn't been said that needs a new, a new thought in a different thread, I mean, that's okay too, but try to weigh in as much as you can and ask questions if you can. There's a lot of, there are a lot of really experienced people in this section. So I ask you to, if you've got questions to post them out there during this discussion time. Any other questions, thoughts?
This is Ramji here.
Yeah.
I guess I got one more question. It's still regarding the same replication and sharding.
Yeah.
What would be the general strategy when you say, let's say we have a 6-cluster node, and let's say I want to replicate the data of node 1, and then let's say I pick node 2 to do that. So node 2 contains basically all the data that is present in node 1. But what about node 2? Do you go in a cyclic way, or is it just going to be in pairs? For example, node 1 and node 2 are a pair. They contain the same data. What would be the ideal way?
That's a good question. So oftentimes you have a replication factor of 2 or 3. In other words, and we'll talk about one of the lessons coming up. We'll talk about, how you have to figure out what your reading and writing strategy is. But if you have a replication factor of 2 or 3, that means that every node is handling the data of 2 other nodes, or some portion of the data of 2 other nodes. And I think as long as you're balanced across the nodes, that is probably about the best you can do. So you're going to sacrifice a chunk of your available storage for the replication. I mean, and that is just a function of replication. So yeah, I think we could figure out exactly what strategy would be. But I think as far as like, there is no notion of a neighbor here. I mean, all these nodes are in a cluster, so there's not like, one is nearest to the other. There's no spatial location that would say, oh, for node 1, you want to replicate with 2 and 6. But maybe, but there is one thing. There is addressing. There's a certain amount of addressing that might influence a distribution. So 1 would replicate at 3 and 5 or something like that. But I think it's very much dependent on the NoSQL store that you're using.
Okay. Thank you, Professor.
Good question. Yeah.
So, Professor, I have a quick question
Mm-hmm.
in reference to what Ramji just said. So, would distributed file system be ideal for such kind of architecture?
Thanks for asking that question, because we're moving into a few lessons on distributed file systems. No, I think distributed file systems are actually pretty poor at providing these kinds of multiple addressing points and replication strategies and even sharding. I think they're kind of precursors to that. But it's a good question. The reason I bring out the distributed file systems is there's certain concepts. Fowler mentioned consistency and fault tolerance, and those concepts actually come out of distributed file systems. So we're not really talking about distributed file systems as an alternative so much as we are as mining them for the good ideas that actually came out of some of that earlier work.
Thank you.
Does that make sense? Okay, good.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Hi.
And who is this?
This is Christina. I'm sorry.
Oh, hi, Christina. Good.
Hi. Okay. I think I'm a little bit confused. Maybe you can help me out, because a lot of the people that post on the Piazza are really experienced and I'm not. So I'm trying to play catch up, and I'm doing okay. When I listened to the YouTube video for the lesson, I sort of got the impression that this NoSQL data was like one big, large set of data. And I guess after we've just had this discussion, I think I've realized that this data is not on one node. It's sort of distributed over like 6 of the nodes. Is that correct?
Yep, or 12 in this example. Yeah,
exactly.
Yep.
So how I was thinking was a little bit incorrect, and then I was thinking that this large data set could reside on one node, and then it was replicated on other nodes for purposes of sharing in between. I understand now that parts of the data are on different nodes, and that if, for example, node 1 went down, that the data that was on node 1 is already been replicated on node 2. Is that correct?
Yeah, good. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, it seems way less experienced than some of the other people, but I'm trying to understand. So in essence, node 2 has its own data plus the replication of, let's say, node 1?
Yes.
Okay, yes. I got it.
Yep. And if you have a replication factor of 3, then you've got 3 copies of the data sitting on that cluster. So now you can handle 2 nodes failing.
Okay, I have it now.
Okay, good. Yeah, and bear with it. I mean, one of the nice things about an online class is you do get this experience, but the class doesn't have this experience as a prerequisite. I just consider it a benefit that there are other people who have dealt with this before and in a real life setting. So I look at it as an enhancement to the class, but not, again, it's not a prerequisite.
Right. I do work with a lot of people that are helpful, but it's better for me with the examples that we have in the class to really think through this. But I already posted in Piazza, but now I may have to go back and repost because my understanding changed a little bit.
Well, good. I mean, that was the whole point of this discussion. So is to get us talking about it.
Okay. Thanks so much.
Okay. Well, thank you.
Okay, bye.
Okay, bye. Okay, hey, if we don't have any more questions, which it seems like, we don't, this is good. I thought had been a meaningful conversation in addition to use always useful information exchange. So if we don't have any more questions, and you may have Yu's still around, but I don't see his, yeah, we'll just consider you done. So I tell you, okay, bye, and we'll see you next week. Bye, everyone.
Okay. Oh, okay. So everyone, I have to mention the last thing. So if you cannot access the,
Bye, you.
Bye.
We were wondering where you were. All right.
okay, bye. So
Bye.
I want to mention that if you cannot access this link, I mean the Piazza link, so please let me know, because so most of students use the IU account to access the Piazza. So this account may be not added into the group account. So please make, if you cannot access this Piazza link, email me or post some request on the Piazza. We can add you into this I-535 online group. So I think that's what I want to say at the end of this discussion. So also, if you have any questions about the JetStream, about the image, just check the tutorials on cameras, or if you cannot figure it out, just email us or post questions on the Piazza. I think I can respond to this post as every day. Yeah. So if there's no questions, I will end this discussion. Okay. Seems no question. Okay. Bye, everyone.